You have to cut that bird's mouth so that it planes out with the rest of the rafters on the top. We try to take the wood out of the wall and put in insulation. That changes depending on how you apply the stress in relation to the grain direction.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another beautiful day, beautiful show here, Bungalows for Bachelors, late night learning live tonight. You are going to learn how not to be sued. That's right, folks. But before we get into that, we need to shout out to the one and only Green Observer. The guy, he's actually in the chats right now. Here he is on the screen, folks. Green Observer. Check him out right here. Hello, fellow learners. He's here to learn because he's a smart man. And he also makes wonderful music. He makes all of the music to theme Bungalows for Bachelors. That intro music, the outro music, you name it. He does it all, guys. So if you want some cool music, check him out. He's on YouTube at Green Observer. Link is in the description below. And yeah, so good to see you. Also, it is good to see Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, where is Brown? There is Brown. He is out of town, folks. Farmer Jay is not in this town. He is in a different town, but he's here on the stream with us, having a good time, ready to learn. And he is hopefully saying me too because he wants to learn, not because he is being sued. But we will find out, that's for sure. And we also have the one and only Daddy Will Stevenson in the chat. I am not sure how I feel about saying that out loud, but good to have you, Will. I almost called you the other word. I'm so glad I didn't. Oh my goodness gracious. Folks, if you can't get enough of the Bungalows for Bachelors stuff here on YouTube, then check out our Skool server. That's where we all hang out. That's where the community is. Go to the link in the description below, www.skool.com/BFB success. And that will take you right into our Skool server. It's totally free. Come hang out, have a good time. We got some cool courses and stuff in there for you to check out. So do that because that is a good time and it's fun. And we would like you to be in. So inside there are a few things that I've got going on, by the way, guys. So there is what I call the House Forging Project. It is the expanded version of everything you need to know, not everything you need to know, but most of what you would learn about some detail about all the trades that go into building a house. Now, there's the House Forging Project. There's the Condensed House Forging Project, which is everything condensed into like 5 to 10 minute, I think, videos. And there's only like 5 of them. So it's a much more condensed, more compact. If you want more knowledge, less time equals more density of knowledge. And then, of course, if you just like want to just jam pack that knowledge into your brain, then you can check out the 40-minute house built in 40-minute video that I made. It's on YouTube. It's in the Skool server. It's everywhere. If you just were like, well, shoot, I don't know what's in a house, but I only really want to spend 40 seconds because I'm mildly curious, then check that out. Now, if you're somebody who is on the other end and you go through all these things, you're like, I know how to build houses, but you're like, wait, I don't really understand all the engineering that goes into framing, and you want to learn that stuff, then the Become a Framing Nerd program is for you. Check it out. It is in the Skool server as well. Now, you learn how to build a house. You learn how to do some framing. What's next? Well, guess what? Shoot, maybe you can go start a design firm or something, or maybe you want to go design a house for yourselves. Well, I have got another course in the Skool server called the Draft It Yourself program, where I show you how I do everything I do to draft and make money to survive. Go check it out. It is also in there. Now, you've got all these things figured out. You can build a house. You know how to frame. You learn how to draw. What's the only thing you're missing in your life? Well, the thing you're missing in your life, folks, is to eat. And everyone needs to eat the right food. And so to eat the right food, you should do this cookbook. Do the cookbook. The Tower Climbers Cookbook by brothers, 2 of them. And look, folks, there's the other brother right there. Welcome, Mr. Brother. I'm going to unmute you. There we go. Welcome, Will. How's it going?
Well, aloha, Brother Sam. So I want to clarify that the reason that my name is Daddy Will Stevenson is because I changed my name twice within like a very set limited amount of time, and YouTube doesn't let you change it back for like 14 days
Oh,
after
no.
you change your name twice. So like I was fucking around on one of the other streamers things. I was in the chats, and I was at first I was like, I'm Lord Will Stevenson because I own like a square foot of Scottish land, and then he was like, bro, you should change your name to Daddy Will Stevenson. I was like, oh my god, that'd be hilarious. And then I did, and I can't change it back for like another week. So
Oh my gosh.
I'm stuck being Daddy Will Stevenson, but it's all
That
fun
is
and
beautiful.
dandy. Yes.
My goodness
So,
gracious. Well,
yeah, that's
I
what's
will
up with me.
continue to call you Will, despite your handle being what it is. But hey,
I would prefer that. That's my favorite name is the one that I was given at birth, not the one that's written on the screen.
yes, we will use that one. Quick shout out before we get into our questions today, though. We looks like we have the one and only Jenna Nelson in the chat, the cheerleader for Bungalows for Bachelors, folks. I believe right now she is holding the top position on the leaderboard in the Bungalows for Bachelor School server. That's kind of another cool reason to join, guys, is because you can actually, it's gamified. And so the more you interact in the community, like and comment and post and stuff, you get points for that, and you unlock like new levels and stuff like that. And so like it looks like Jenna Nelson is the most active one currently. So it's fair to call her the cheerleader. It's good to see that much activity. So thank you, Jenna, for joining us today. I hope you learned something. Happy 4th of July as well. It's been a great 4th of July. Will, did you guys do the correct thing on 4th of July and do more work?
Yeah, we went up the tower and we fixed the things that were broken, and then we de-rigged.
Awesome.
So,
de-rigging already.
Yep, the tower is totally empty of all of our goodies. We've put the stuff up, we've taken our cables and ropes down, and we're packing up. So
any special surprises you guys left on the tower for anyone else to come? Maybe extra chokers?
No tower treasure, no super secret. Well, I hope not anyways. If there is, then I gotta go climb up and get it, which is really annoying.
That would be
I don't know
annoying.
if you can. I was asking you back in the green room if you can hear, but the transmitter is on right now, so it's broadcasting signal. So hopefully I don't have to climb up there and get anything and then call the station and say, hey, can you guys power down and stop making money so I can go grab a piece of cloth?
Yes. They would probably rather just leave it there, I would imagine.
Yeah, that would likely be the case.
Makes you wonder how much money is lost in like a 10-minute period of time, 30-minute period of time, you know?
I have no idea, man.
It's a great
good
question.
though.
But looks like we've got Green Observer, get the cookbook. It has some fantastic recipes. Why, thank you, Green Observer. That's right. This is the Brothers Two of Them cookbook. He is vouching for the recipes that are in here.
Wow, look at all these great recipes.
Wow, these are really great. Oh, wow, look at that one.
Yeah, I know. That one's actually my favorite, believe it or not.
Yeah, me too.
This one right here that the audience can't see.
Yeah, the one right here. Yeah.
Boy, howdy. Hey, so I've only got 7 of them left. How many do you have left?
More than 7.
Okay, so there's not a whole lot of them left. As you guys can see, as written on the bottom, there's only 50 of them total. Or shit, there we go. There's only 50 of them total. So, yeah, once they're gone, and that's it. No more being made ever. You can own a piece of history, a piece of the Brothers Two of Them tower climbing history.
That's correct. It could be in your house, in your very kitchen, whether it's framed or in the active cookbooks zone for those who use the active cookbooks. We also got Mr. Centurion 54X in the chat here. Good to see you, Centurion. Man, I'm looking forward to, you know what, Centurion, you should be aware. I am going to be back in Texas by August. And so sometime shortly before August happens is when I'm going to make a trek back down through the States. And that's approximately when I'm going to come down. Hopefully it's a time that works out where maybe you could show me how to actually that's something I'm not going to say out loud, but you got a cool tractor and maybe I could watch you drive your tractor or something. That'd be cool. So nobody needs to take a ride on a big green tractor or anything like that.
Jesus Christ. Yes, I like the first way you framed it better than the second way, but it's funny.
Funny nonetheless. I figured it's funny to say out loud. I don't care.
That's excellent.
Excellent. So glad we have so many wonderful people here to learn today because we're going to get right into it. So Will, first question for you off the bat here. Can we label which kinds of people file lawsuits?
Yeah. People who don't have power.
Ooh, that's a good answer. What is power?
Power is the ability to do the things that you want and to force other people to do the things that you want.
And that makes
So
sense. So people don't have power because they need to use
they
somebody
need
else.
they need to borrow someone else's power to get someone else to do something. Which is like, I was gonna say people who sue other people are bitches, but really, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm saying that bombastically because it's just like these cats don't have the means or the ability to do the thing that they want to do, and so they need to go and they need to lend daddy government's power to make whoever the heck they're suing do the thing that they want them to do, or stop doing the thing that they want them to stop doing, or pay them money, or this, that, or the other. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically
So
bitches, man. Bitches
yeah, I
are
was gonna
people
say
who
when
sue
you
other
said
people.
people who don't have power, it carried a negative connotation to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
is there an argument to be made that those who use the government and law to enact these lawsuits and get things to go the way they want, are they just using a higher leverage tool?
yeah,
Or like,
100%. I'll tell you that I can't twist a bolt with my hands, and I can't turn a screw with my fingertips. I need to use a tool to do that. So like, in that respect, I also do not have power. I don't have the power to turn the bolt without the tool. So like, lawsuits are just a tool for people to, force other people to do something. So the thing that I don't like about lawsuits is I'm a big fan of like freedom and you know sovereignty and ability and things. And I think that it's like one is much better served going out and becoming more powerful than one is like it just kind of broadly speaking, without like I haven't put any sort of thought or nuance into this perspective, but I
sure.
much prefer like solving problems myself rather than being like, hey, big person, can you solve my problem for me? But I'm also a man who has not had like crazy high level problems where I'm dealing with the state, or like one large corporation against another large corporation about some like piddly details, or something. So like there's instances where I can see it being appropriate, um and like, but I can also see like this is a tool that's massively misused, at least in my personal opinion. But like taking the judgment and everything out of it, it's just another tool to like as a means to an end.
Yeah, so people are better off going out and about trying to find ways to, like, if something bad happens and they need to like sue somebody, or they feel like they need to sue somebody or whatever, right? They would be better off figuring out, well, okay, what is bad thing that happened? How do I just go about making the bad thing not happen to myself again and use it as a lesson? It seems like a better use of time to myself as well.
Yeah,
Sort
yeah.
of brings up the
Was
go
that
ahead.
a question? I don't
Yeah,
know if
well,
that's a
not sort of.
question.
Let me ask you a real question.
Okay,
Why do people file lawsuits?
because they want to get stuff done and they can't.
And they can't.
It's
Yes.
just like, why
Okay,
do people
so
grab a wrench when they need to turn the bolt and their hands are too weak? It's just it's a thing.
yeah.
It's like a lawsuit is forcing someone else to either start doing something or stop doing something. So it's a means of persuasion, or or something like that.
I suppose so.
It's a
That's fair.
sales tool. It's a sales technique, but it
Sales
uses
technique.
sales by force instead of like sales um of
Actual persuasion.
yeah, actual persuasion.
Right.
Ooh, ooh. We're gonna cover this tomorrow on book club, but like in the anatomy of the state, one of the things that they cover is political power versus social power, and the difference being like political power is like your power over people, and social power is your power over the environment. So like social power would be like your ability to ride a skateboard down a hill, or your ability to chop down a tree. And then political power is like I can force this other person to do something. So that's something we're going to cover more in depth on. But that's just there's a little reminder thing that I had there of us talking about like using lawsuits as a tool.
Gotcha. Well, that's an interesting topic, and I'm very interested in peeling apart that question right there.
Mhm.
Excellent. Well, I got another question for you then. So, what can we do to avoid getting sued by other people that need to use these lever arms, right?
Mm.
How do we act in a way like we're going to go engage in business, we're going to engage in deals, like we got to think about what are the things first of all before we get to that, I guess, what are the things that people sue for? You know,
Things that
car
they're upset
accidents,
about.
I guess, like personal
You,
injury.
yeah. Oh, you mean like specific stuff? Well,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
broadly speaking, people sue over things that they're unhappy with. So the way that you can avoid being sued is by generating more value than you create bad circumstance. And I suppose there's a scaling problem with that. So the best two ways to not get sued is one, be a small fish in a big ocean and just be insignificant, and then two, to generate like an incredible amount of value and don't have any like negative externalities attached to the value that you generate. I'll give an example of like and this is another book that we're going to cover on book club, The Righteous Mind. I can't remember who it's by, but one of the things he speaks about is like um, regulation over corporations. And sometimes there will be people or processes that get to experience the positive or the profitable part of any endeavor while putting the negative externality of said endeavor on someone else. For instance, back in London when they burned coal in their chimneys for heat, or when they burned coal in their houses for heat. Um, One of the things that would happen is a whole bunch of people like burn a bunch of coal because they're cold and they get to enjoy the wonderful warmth of the heated house and the cooked food and all that good stuff. And the coal goes up into the air and then it, goes 50 miles over and then it settles down on neighboring town of someone else. So like these guys are having this awesome experience. It's creating a negative externality, dumping it on someone else. So that would be like an example of like where regulation or lawsuit, any sort of like political power, to harken back to Anatomy of the State. Um, that's like an example of when someone would need to be sued is when someone is creating a negative circumstance for someone else and they don't want to change their actions so as to like make the injured party whole, or at the very least like cease the injury if it's like more injury in progress or something like that. So that's how people can avoid getting sued. And I suppose that's the reason, the broad reasons why people could get sued. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of like specific things as you were mentioning, like personal injury. That's a big one. And that I think that's kind of taken a crazy turn, at least here in the Western world. Lots of people getting injured and not and like somebody else is being made to be responsible for an individual user's like misuse of a product. Like you see on Tide Pods, like the label says, "Do not eat these delicious Tide Pods," or like warning, this Superman cape does not allow the user to fly, or whatever. Like all these things that we make fun of, it's because someone got sued, or someone's being proactive in trying to stop themselves from getting sued. But like again, after a certain scaling point, it becomes inevitable, or something like that.
Right. So it sounds like, let me give you a little bit of an analogy here, because it seems like you touched on the right topic, or the right thing that at least I agree with. And that is that you go around creating relationships with people. And on a small scale, it's easy to handle when it's one-on-one because you control the relationship that you have with every single person. I'd imagine with scale, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. Let's say you have a company. Now your company is going to act for you, which means other people are going to be acting for you. And if they don't understand the right culture and the right brand or whatever, they could act differently than you would. But on a simple scale, when we go around and we create a relationship with somebody, like we have a social debt or whatever it may be, I would argue that the best strategy is to always go around and maintain a deficit of them to you, which
Yep.
is like in my mind, it's like a bar of goodwill. Like I look at it like a health meter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so every relationship I have with some person, like I'm not perfect, and so I'm going to make mistakes, both like personally, socially, and all that stuff. And I would rather have this, like I'd grow this health meter that's like, oh, I've got this big bar of goodwill that I've built up because I've genuinely tried to be like do so many good things for somebody, right? And then if I trip up and like it brings the goodwill meter down, but like they still understand that I'm a good person trying to help. So
Yeah.
like, they'll get over it, and like have bad emotions, whatever. Like the extent of how extreme that is, like varies based on what happens, right? But you try to maintain that bar, and like the farther you can extend that, then the more you can like build a relationship with them, And then when like you've been doing the same thing for like 15, 20 years, you can like really, really, really fuck them over really good, make a bunch of money, and then like you're still good. You can still be friends.
Yep.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you got to
But
build up a lot of goodwill to overcome that one. Because
yes, that's right.
was it somebody? This is like one of those reoccurring themes in life. Is that like negative things like greatly overpower any positive things? So you need to do like 10 million positive things to get away with like one super serious negative thing, and then there's even like some negative things like you can't overcome with any amount of positivity. So,
Right. Yeah. So I would imagine basically like I would say the lawsuit lever it's on the other side of zero, right? There exists some point for most people, unless they have like a super extreme level of ownership, where they will probably sue. And so that point varies for different people. And like the farther you extend into the minus zero without rebuilding goodwill or like getting back to zero or whatever, the closer you get to like really getting somebody that unhappy with you that they need to take action and use somebody else's power to get something out of you.
yeah.
So yeah, it seems like that's a good way to do it. And it's, equally as important in business, I would say. And that's partially why you should aim to, Hormozy says this all the time, right? Is you want to be giving like 10x more value than what they're actually paying for, right? And you can still charge a lot, but if you're giving all this excess value, every time you do that, it's stacking your goodwill with somebody. And so that seems to me like the best way to like stay out of
Yeah.
trouble is if you basically you just got this big buffer.
Yeah, I agree. Generate as much value as possible and just like ride on the coattails of your own success. I like
Yeah,
it.
basically.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
So that's how we avoid getting sued, people. That's the general strategy. Obviously, you can't control everybody, but I would say for the like the crazy Karens you meet in the street that like might want to sue you for anything, then you ought to consider controlling your life circumstances to be around those kinds of people less, and or like it's all I mean it all comes down to control. You control your own environment. People say like, oh, like I couldn't control the fact that my dog got hit by a car or whatever, like things like I was sitting at a stoplight and parked and someone smashed into me from behind. It's like, well, it doesn't seem like you could have done much, but there's probably something you could have done, or you could have been in an area where there's less stupid people driving, or it's less busy streets, or
Yep.
and it just serves everybody a whole lot better to take care of that. And so for those people out there where their suing mark is like 0.001 angry points below zero, and they will sue happy. You want to avoid those people. You want to find out where they are.
I like
So
that. That's a good bit of advice. I like that. That reminds me a little bit your car analogy of the extreme ownership thing that Jocko Willink talks about. Like, you can't necessarily control if the other car hits you, but you can control like, oh, am I going to drive today? What route am I going to take? Am I going to be on this busy street? Am I going to be on this not so busy street? Like, you can't control everything, but you can control everything that you do. All of your own decisions. That all falls within your purview. That all falls within your like your onus of accountability, responsibility, authority, all those things all stacked together. So good analogy there, brother.
So in general, why would you say we shouldn't sue other people? Before you answer this, I want to add this to the scale, right? I would say that if you are going to get so far and you're so unhappy with somebody that you consider suing them, then you can pretty much write off any possible relationship you could have with them at any point in the future. Because like you're like lawsuits aren't cheap ever, and so you are probably going to make a big economic impact in somebody's life in a very negative way over something that like, yeah, it sucks, but you didn't nobody twisted your arm. You didn't have to sue them. You always have a choice.
It's not the only cost either. Money is not the only cost that a lawsuit takes. A lawsuit takes your time. A lawsuit takes your attention. A lawsuit takes your peace. A lawsuit takes like your potential energy, and it takes a whole bunch more than just money, right? It doesn't necessarily destroy your brand with everyone, but it destroys your reputation with the one person who's on the other side of that courtroom, you know? So like it's more than just money. Like engaging in a lawsuit, there's man, I keep thinking back to this the book that I wrote about like the six like pillars of value, you know, fucking time, money, energy, health, resources and reputation. Like these are the things that like a lot of your decisions are going to cost you. And so like engaging in a lawsuit with other people is it's kind of like a nuclear option. You know, you don't want to be throwing it around willy-nilly. And I'm thinking from small person perspective. Again, little fish in a big ocean. There's bigger fish out there. Like if you're a corporation or if you're like a large business, like these things become a part of the scaling problem and it becomes a part of the game. So like I don't understand that world. I know that it exists, but like anyways, as far as like individual people go, you should probably avoid it at all costs because the cost is very high and it's very consuming, and it does kind of like it's kind of like the nuclear option. We don't want to launch those nukes. We want to try and solve the problem by as low of a action as possible on the totem pole or anything. You had a question though. What was the question again? Like what can we do to
Well, why shouldn't we sue other people was the original question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so why we shouldn't sue other people it is again like like you're better served building than you are destroying.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it
I
just
agree.
in a general core principle. You're better served building, you're better served like creating so much value that you don't like that person wants to be on your team. You're some fucking quote about like it's easier to catch flies with honey than it is with vinegar or something like that. You know, like it's better to build than it is to destroy. And that's the general principle.
Yeah, it kind of comes back to like an abundance mentality kind of thing is the way
Mhm.
I kind of look at it. And you mentioned like big business, right? And I have personally heard Michael Sartain, for example, when talking about Men of Action. You know, he's got a free school server, he's got the paid group, and people somewhat frequently basically go in there, they learn everything he's doing, and they turn around and they go just try to recreate it. And as far as I've heard, I have not heard of like Sartain suing all of these people for trying to recreate his thing. From his
Yeah.
point of view, it's like, oh, you're trying to like copy me. Like, okay, well that's that good. That gives me feedback that like I'm creating something valuable that you think other people are going to want too. And he happens to know that they're not going to be able to recreate it because they're not him.
Yep.
And it's his mind that created it. And on top of that, when you recognize that when you put your work on the internet, you are now going to like if you try to do everything secret, like you only cold call, you only meet people in person, you never market, you never advertise, all of the business you engage in, if it's like not secret, but just not out there, then yes, you will be able to keep a lot of secrets to yourself. However, if you are considering trying to meet or get your information to the masses and you want to use the internet, well, congratulations. People on the internet are going to see what you're doing. And if you're doing something valuable, guess what? They're going to copy it. And the beautiful thing about that is that fuels innovation. Because now, in order for you to keep your edge, you have to constantly be innovating and creating more value on top of what you've already done to stay ahead of those people. Exactly. Yeah. So when you have that mentality, it's like, well, okay, literally, it takes me time to do this lawsuit thing. It also takes me time to like build and innovate the next best thing, which happens to be good for everybody. Like, there's only so much time in the day, people, and so it makes sense to just do the thing that's
better.
makes
Make
the world
the world
better.
worse. Yep.
Yeah.
That's some easy math. I like that. That's good.
Yeah. I would believe that a lot of the make world worse part comes down to people's emotions.
Yeah.
People feel bad about bad thing happening to them, and when people feel bad, they tend to act brashly.
Yeah.
So we got a great comment here from Centurion 54X. Suing someone for breach of contract seems valid. Not all lawsuits are bad. They are just way overused and too time and money consuming. If I pay you to, that's a good, I'm going to come back to that. If I pay you to build me a house and you take the money and don't build me a house, what else could I do? Do your research better next time, Centurion.
Yeah.
That's basically what it comes down to. And like a lot of times, dude, in construction, this thing happens. I literally have dealt with multiple people where I was trying to sell them on a project, this, that, and the other, and I didn't know how to sell at the time, unfortunately, and overcome this one. But they would give me like, yeah, the last contractor, we gave him a down payment of 5,000, and he walked, didn't do anything for us, and we just lost the money. And so like now we're not gonna do it again. So yeah, dude, it happens all the time. And honestly, the amount of money, energy it takes to reclaim that value, it never ends up being worth it. Unless it's like some crazy amount of money. But like frequently you have to think about the end goal as well. Like, hey, you're gonna sue somebody. If they don't have the assets to liquidate, or they don't have the cash to pay you, great. You're now gonna have some debt from some dude that like already screwed you, that already doesn't want to give it to you. You have got the government on their side, kind of, but like, yeah, we all know how efficient the government is at like making everything happen. So it just like doesn't sound like I'm a great like helpful thing to do. There's definitely a balance to like, okay, what is the risk? And specifically, like, this is obviously a construction channel. So when somebody pays a down payment for a house, like one of the things that I chose to do was nobody pays. Now I was doing small scale stuff, so it's more important on a larger scale. But nobody's going to pay ahead of time for labor, if that makes sense, unless the labor's already been done, right? There's a bunch of labor it takes to like bid a project. Great, pay me for the labor that I just did. But if I'm going to build a deck, then you ought to pay for everything that it takes to make that all the material on place and everything like ready to go. But when I show up and I do the work earns the rest of the money. That's like a usually a pretty common like balance, common trade-off. But the other way to look at that from the contractors of the business perspective is, you as a human, like just a regular person, you have almost nothing to lose by screwing the contractor. He has his reputation and his business to lose by screwing you. And yeah, people basically will file bankruptcy and have business problems, and like they'll do this. That's a thing. But if you find somebody who's got that reputation, you can tell that there's a lot of people that really vouch for him. There's like a big network of this big proof going on. Then like they have a lot to lose if they ruin that. So it's kind of like you got to judge what's fair. And in some cases, the person who has all that stuff to lose, they also have more pre-selection. They also have, look, everybody's trusted me. Everybody got good stuff with me. Therefore, I can demand you give me 50% of this project up front. And if you don't, I don't need your work.
Hey,
and
leverage.
So leverage. Exactly. So there's a balance of like personal risk versus the business risk and all that stuff. And that's just, have a conversation about it if you go down that road. But your comment about suing someone for a breach of contract seems valid. Not all lawsuits are bad. They are just way overused and too time and money consuming. I definitely agree with the second two sentences. It's interesting, the first part. Suing someone is valid. I would agree with you, Centurion. And on top of that, I would agree that if you need a contract, you're setting yourself up to get the law involved somehow.
Yep.
I had a conversation with this recently with a very wise man who's been in business for a while. And we had the conversation about like, what are contracts for? Do like B2B, do they have contracts? Do they not? When do they? When don't they? Why does it matter? Why doesn't it matter? And I would say the exact same reasons came up in the conversation regarding contracts as like suing. They're one and the same thing. If you create a contract with somebody, like there's benefits to like being clear, right? It's like, oh, well, I thought you were going to do this for me, but this is actually not what you intended. So it's a communication thing. Can be. But in the business world, if you order 50 widgets from somebody to make your widget and sell it to somebody else, and your terms are net 30, aka they have to pay you, or you have to pay them within 30 days of them giving you the stuff, because in the business world, stuff needs to move for stuff to get made, and like money lags behind that. That's why you have accounts receivable, accounts payable, all that stuff. And so guess what? If they give you their 50 widgets and you don't pay them, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to give you another 50 widgets. Okay? And they could say, hey, you owe us money for those 50 widgets, and like they could pursue it in law if you had a contract or not. Again, it's a business. Like that is now this whole other time. That's why you end up with legal teams as part of your business, potentially, right? It's to avoid these problems. But yeah, it's sort of that abundance mentality thing. It's way more. I would say it matters even more for a business to have the abundance mentality, because in business you need to be making money. You don't have time to do things that aren't making you the money. You've already lost the money. It's gone. You don't have to re-earn it. Like you have to re-earn the money that you already spent.
Yeah.
Or go make more. And the making the more part is the income part that like makes everything happen. That's the cash flow. So it's like, do you want to work 20 hours twice for the same dollars that you already had? Or do you just want to go learn how to make another, $5,000, whatever it is?
Yep.
That's my rant. What are your thoughts, Will?
No, dude, you nailed it on the head, man. There's no point doing the work twice when you're not guaranteed to win, and it makes you look like a bitch. Like that's the that's the end all be all. Like it does suck when bad things happen, but you know what you can't do is undo the bad thing from happening. The best thing to do is to move forward and extract the lesson out of the sequence of events that led to it.
Yes, extracting the lesson is important. In fact, that's arguably like one of the most important things. Centurions here, reputation is everything.
100%. Takes forever to build, and you can break it like that.
Exactly, sir. So I was saying the education part, right? Learning that somebody can screw you and you don't want that to happen again. Well, guess what? You basically just paid for an education. That's all you paid for.
That's what you
did.
You
just traded the money and now you have knowledge.
Hey,
right?
You're smarter now.
You're smarter now.
It's stronger.
Right. And so that should make you better at this in the future. One of the things that's like something that we kind of learn as we go is that there's a lot of things in life that need to be deliberated about. You can't just jump into a whole lot of things. There's always multiple options. There's always something that's probably the best option. And so like the more you learn that, oops, I should not have acted so quickly, or I didn't trust this thing, this can happen. The more you learn that, the better you're going to get at handling pretty much everything in life, whether that's business or women or men or children or whatever. It's like you learn that like, oh, this can happen. Going to be aware of that going forward. We got a comment here from Mr. Wyatt. Good to have you, Mr. Wyatt. I've had opportunity to sue some people, but it's easier for me to make more money than go through the small claims court. Anything under 10 grand, I just walk from whether I like it or not. It's probably a pretty good strategy, Mr. Wyatt. You are probably better off just moving forward with the next thing and make the next thing happen. And I would imagine that by experiencing those things in life, you are probably sharper as a knife and you can pick out people better, read people better, and you are just generally going to be less likely to cause yourself a problem in the future. But yeah, it's good to hear that you've got that move forward mindset. That's fantastic. Awesome. Well, okay, so we talked about, we got another comment here.
We got a Twitch watcher. Aloha, Twitch watcher.
Hello, Twitch watcher. I'm pulling up this comment. I don't know if this shows up on YouTube or not. I don't normally get these, but hey, someone's suing you. Why? Well, no one's actually suing me. And the reason is because I maintain a big bar of goodwill out in front of me. I don't give people a reason to sue me. When I make a mistake, learn from Richard Hart, okay? You apologize the right way when you make a mistake. And you like basically hopefully have built up a big bar of goodwill so that it can eat into that and you can rebuild from there, right? Because nobody's perfect. When people do things intentionally and it's neglect or whatever, that's bad. But yeah, so nobody is suing me currently. I once heard a businessman say that if you're in business long enough, somebody's going to sue you. And it kind of makes sense because there's a lot of people in the world, and if you end up dealing with lots of clients, then that becomes problematic. But I am suing my home builder, way too many mistakes, and he won't fix them. Yes, that is problematic when you don't fix the mistakes. And I can't speak for who this builder is because I do not know. I don't have any information. But I will say that it's a very hard place to be in when you are sunk very heavily into one of the biggest expenses almost anybody is ever going to have. And you end up with something that is not to par, right? Especially when they won't fix them. And that's not everybody runs a business the same way. And I would hope that as I scale, I carry the same mentality of like, I know I'm not perfect. I'm probably going to mess something up at some point, right? And so there's errors in emissions insurance. Like if you mess something up that's like costs a lot of money, then yeah, pay out. But like one of the things that I've really worked on developing, even through construction, it's the same thing when you're building something with your hands, guys. The ability to take the thing you've just installed and rip it off the wall, right? It's no, this is not what it's supposed to be. I didn't do it as well as I could have. Take it off, right? Rip it off the wall. And that's painful. And so there's plenty of people that can't handle that pain. They're better off just being like, nah, like, so don't want to deal with it. So yeah, that's unfortunate.
Bubble of mediocrity.
Yes, pretty much. Will, when you helped me put on that siding in Brenham,
yeah,
what was, I believe there were probably a piece or two in that whole process. They were like, oh, that didn't work. Let's take it off and do it again.
Probably. I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay.
I'm sure that I fucked something up and that I had to redo it. In fact, I know that I did because that seems like a thing that would happen the first time doing a
right,
a new process.
New process. That makes sense.
I know I definitely had to cut some things multiple times and remove them from the wall, but yeah.
Right. Liberty Twitcher says that's the honest thing to do. If you made a mistake, do not stick your customer with the cost of fixing it. That's correct. The customer didn't make the mistake. Well, arguably the customer made the mistake when he picked the person who makes mistakes and doesn't fix them.
Correct.
But
this is all part of the learning process.
Yep.
And it's like, well, right or wrong, what's the end result and what can we do about it?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing to do is learn.
Yes. Got a comment from Green Observer here. Been there, done that with siding. That's right. That's right, Mr. Green Observer. Yep. I believe, you know what? Funny story, guys. Funny story real quick. So Green Observer was just up here in Port Angeles helping me do some work on this ADU. And as we started the siding, right, there's no pieces on the wall. We got it laid out. We're starting to cut. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the fourth piece we put on the wall had an error on it. It had a non-factory end in a butt joint, which is a water problem. You don't want to do that. And so when we realized it, we're like, oh shoot, pull that off the wall, redo it. And I believe the words that I said that we had to say multiple times was, that's not the first mistake we're going to make. That's not the last mistake we're going to make today. And so you just want to remove the thinking. Just like, oh, mistake happened, undo the mistake, do the better thing. That's just a good habit to be in, because yes, you're going to keep making the mistakes. Excellence is the only option. That is correct, Green Observer. And the beautiful thing about excellence is that another way to say excellence is quality, right? And quality is defined by the one paying for it.
Yep.
And so some people have different standards of quality. And so you want to know what that is? Of course. I happen to enjoy doing projects for people that have a very understanding level of quality, right? They're not functional. Yeah, functional. Yeah, so they're not accepting or they're not, was that the right word? They're not expecting that every cut, every piece is going to be 30 seconds off from its edge and it's going to be flawless and this, that, and the other. No. It's going to be within tolerances of how the material was intended to be installed. And a big thing that happens in construction is you're going to put a lot of stuff together that covers up the previous thing you did. And so if you understand that if you made a mistake on a thing or something was damaged on a thing that gets covered up and it has zero impact on what you see at the end and the functionality of the thing, then it matters zero. Matters not, right? As a brief example, right? Some of you might judge me for this, but we potentially discovered that right after the joint in the sewer lateral for the ADU, where we are joining it, like flowing, there is an existing slight belly in that pipe. And for those of you who don't understand how sewer pipes work, they're slanted. Water flows downhill. That's all. When you have a belly, the water can't go uphill. And so when you're using the house, you're using everything, water's flushing, yada, 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 water will flow through the sewer system from momentum, right? But things can build up. It's possible. And so it was discovered that there's like this slight belly in the pipe. There's no clogging. There are no problems. This pipe has been there for who knows how long, 20, 25, 30 years. Don't know. And the homeowner was like, well, okay, it's still working. So we're not going to dig the whole thing up to try to like correct one thing of belly. Like that's not important. And so it's nice to work for people that understand like, oh, this thing is actually working. Yes, there's this theoretical thing wrong with it and it's not flawless. But in this world, nothing is flawless. And we're all just working with different standards and different tolerances. Got it quiet again. Quiet. We have a comment from Mr. Wyatt. Unfortunately, Liberty's situation is common. Guys doing too much volume with bad labor. I think you're
There's
speaking
a price for everything. And sometimes when the price is now I'm kind of extrapolating information here. But I'm going to assume that if a guy is doing bad quality because he's doing a whole lot of quantity, he's probably not charging a ton of money or something like that. That would be this. The point is, this is a learning moment. Doesn't matter what brought you to this, what brought this equation about. But that is one potential problem. You had something you were going to say, brother.
Shoot. Yeah, maybe. Next comment by Liberty Twitcher. To me, oh no, I was gonna. Sorry, 1 second. We'll get to that comment in
oddly
a second.
specific problem.
Yeah, guys doing too much volume with bad labor. Yeah, so it sounded like you were speaking to the people who scale, and they scale too fast to maintain the right people in the right places, and it ends up having problems. Yes, that is difficult. So, Liberty Twitcher said, to me, quote, quality is a shower drain that is not plugged with sloppy grout falling in it. And then when the repair causes a leak into the ceiling for the bottom floor, then you fix it and fix it right at your cost, not mine. And then when the repair causes it a leak. Yes, repairs are supposed to repair things, not make them worse. That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
But it's kind of nice to know, Mr. Well, I don't know if you're a man or woman, but Liberty Twitcher, it's nice to know that if a contractor is going to go work for you, that the bar is pretty low for defining quality to you. No offense. But as long as they do everything right, I mean, as long as it doesn't leak and there's no grout in your drain, the framing could be off, the drywall could have holes in it, but you're happy. That's good to know.
I think that he is he's belaboring his specific problem that he has. That's my theory, anyways. That can't possibly be the only thing that he determines quality for. If not, sure. I would hate to try this guy's soup because I bet his soup doesn't have grout in the drain.
Yes.
Sorry, Liberty. We shouldn't be teasing you so much, bro. It sucks that Homeboy didn't do the things he was supposed to do. But the good news is now you know not to trust Homeboy. So, hey,
that's right.
That was an expensive lesson, but now you've learned it.
That's right.
Perhaps.
Oh, go ahead.
Perhaps, Mr. Liberty Twitcher would benefit from learning a thing or two about home construction, so that way he might be able to do his own home construction. Man, if only there was a YouTube channel that covered that sort of thing. Libertine, I've got some good news for you. You happen to be in the right place this man, boy, I'm glad I pointed the right direction because it's camera backwards because I see you over here. Anyways, This guy right here teaches people how to fix problems in their house and how to do all sorts of like basic general jack of all trades things when it comes to building more or less an entire house. I mean, that's more or less the reason why you started Bungalows for Bachelors, wasn't it, Sam? So you could teach people basically like what would you say, like the 80% solution to everything from 0 to 1?
Yeah, it was meant to like empower people with enough information that they could like do their own stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So Liberty, if you stick around, man, you'll see and learn a lot of stuff. Sam covers a lot of content. He speaks a lot about how to frame. He speaks a lot about like plumbing and electrical and roofing and siding and all sorts of stuff, man. I don't know how he does it, but I mean, this is his passion. I take it back. That's how he does it. This is the thing that he loves to do, and he's been doing it for quite a while. It's been great watching from the sidelines and seeing my brother grow and stuff. So Liberty, if you stick around, bro, you'll get to see and learn a lot of this stuff, and maybe perhaps you'll be able to fix your own plumbing problems yourself, or you'll at least be able to tell like a good problem solver or home builder from a bad one. So
Hopefully. Yeah, man, that's true. And you know what? If you want more information, dude, I have a free Skool Community where all of us people hang out together and talk about these kinds of things. So I'd love to hear more of your stories if you want to share them. The link is in the description below. If you want to click that and come on over, I'd love to see you in the group. Got a comment here from Centurion. An old guy I used to work with told me, quote, good enough for the girls I go with. Then he said, your wife won't like it when you say that around her.
Boomer humor, man. Like it.
That's fair enough.
That's good.
I
I
like
like it. This guy sounds like a good cat to work with.
Yes. Wyatt, I heard the same saying, Centurion, from the worst hack contractor I ever worked for when I was 18. Oh, yeah, potentially. You know what? That's okay. So I will say there is a joke. So up here in Washington, framers don't frame like the framers in Texas. Not even close. Everything is built, designed, framed to the 16th of an inch, exactly as it's supposed to be, from the ground all the way to the roof. That's what we do here. And knowing that, and knowing how meticulous these people are when they build stuff, it's really funny when you're on a job site. And one of the favorite go-tos around here, and I just said it today, doing drywall, right? It's like you make something that's like slightly less than perfect, and you recognize that it matters zero. And so what you say out loud is, well, let's keep going. Good enough for who it's for. Right? And so, the joke is like, it's fine. We'll move past it. Doesn't matter. We don't care about who we're making it for, right? And so, like, I think it's a fun thing to say because it like recognizes the idea that like we're going to move past this imperfection. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah. Well, so much in life is so over-engineered that like one or two small flaws, it's not going to make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we got Y back here. When I built the house in Texas, I had to have the cooler full of Bud Light or no one would work. Texas is special. I like that.
That's a fun job site.
Sounds good. Will, would you describe your construction work in Texas similar to that? How would you describe your experience?
I think, are you talking about for siding?
Yes.
We had coffee, I believe.
Oh, we did. We had fresh coffee made by the owners.
Yep. Shout out to the owners who will remain nameless for their own protection. But they brought us coffee and like waters and stuff. It was a good time. I do enjoy having like when I'm working on shit that belongs to me at my own house. I do enjoy having a drink or 7. So it's a good time.
I like it. Centurion, yeah, Wyatt, you only trust a guy that says that if he's got a good woman. Ah.
Yeah. Yep. If he's got a not so great woman, then it's like, ooh, you're making the analogy even more clear.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, guys. So that's how you should avoid getting sued.
Yes. Be good and generate so much value that when people get upset with you, it eats away at like basically the value debt that you've built up, and the like your reputation is so huge at being like a creator and a maker betterifier that like doing a bad thing only takes away a little bit of that. Whereas if you're just a general nobody and people don't think you're good or think you're bad or whatever, then they'll be quicker to jump down to the lower half of the spectrum and just like you less. So do good stuff.
That's right, folks. quick shout out to everybody for showing up and learning today. This has been a great time. Good to see everybody in the chat. We got Centurion. We got Mr. Wyatt. We've got Liberty Twitcher in here. Good to see you, Liberty Twitcher. Hope to see you in the chats in the school server. We got the Green Observer. Let me keep going here. I know we had more. Jenna Nelson and Mr. Farmer J in the very beginning. Very good.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody, for spending your valuable time here. This has been a good time. I appreciate it. Again, if you need to know how to eat and you don't have a good cookbook, then you ought to consider getting the Tower Climbers Cookbook, folks. That's right. There's only 50 of them. This is the last one. See, you are the last hope. See that?
Ooh,
That's 50
hang
out
on.
of 50.
I've got a fun one. Oh, wait, nope, not quite as fun. This one says 46 out of 50. Some of the
Nope,
serial
that's-
numbers are a little bit different.
That's right. And I'll even give you guys a quick sneak peek. Check this out. I'll show you one page inside. You ready?
Ooh, I was going to say, yes, the dedications page. This is where you guys can do whatever you want in the cookbook. So not only did we write a shit ton of cookbook for you, but we left you some space to write your own cookbook as well. Or to, I don't know, draw a picture of a squirrel, or maybe perhaps the secret location of your buried treasure, or maybe even some blueprints to build a house. Who knows?
Or your crypto keys.
Yes, or you can write your crypto keys. And if they're not your keys, they're not your coins. They're not your
That's
coins
right.
anyways, but your keys is how you move them. So that's the only thing that matters.
Hell, you know what? Quick crypto question, then we'll get out of here, Will. So
Yeah.
if I put my crypto keys in like a letter, or like I put them in a place that's like accessible to you, when I die, there is nobody who has authority over those keys.
Yeah, it's pieces of
The
paper.
person who has
with
them has
words
the
on
access to the money.
It's like if you write your password to your computer on a sticky note and I find the sticky note, then congratulations. I have all of your, your save files for Tetris or whatever. Like, it's mine now. It's not like it doesn't belong to anyone. It's just information that tells how to access a thing. Like there is no ownership in cryptocurrency. It's like we treat it like ownership because we know the special way to move the things, but like you don't really own it. Like it's ones and zeros on the internet, man.
Exactly. Correct.
So
Okay, great. Oh, Wyatt got a comment here. I expect to visit out to Cali, or I got to come to you. I can't promise anything, Mr. Wyatt. I have some builders waiting for me to do some things in Texas already, and time is of the essence. So what I can say is that you sound like a man who accomplishes great things, and people who accomplish great things ought to hang out together and do that kind of stuff. So there's a long future ahead of us for our lives, unless one of us dies. But otherwise, we'll make something happen at some point. I can feel it already. Jenna Nelson says she wants a cookbook.
Yes, for the folks at home who want a cookbook, what you need to do is you need to click on this link that I'm about to drop into the chat, and you need to send me a message that says, I want a cookbook, or something along those lines. I have to click on my name here. Fortunately, StreamYard is 7 seconds ahead of YouTube, so whenever I paste that link, it's all on time. So, for the folks at home, if you want a copy of this Tower Climbers Cookbook, you need to click on that link, t.me/Will Stevenson. You need to follow that link. That will open up my Telegram. And all you need to do is send me a message saying, I want a cookbook. The cookbooks cost $10 if you want me to hand deliver it to you. If you want me to ship it to you, it costs $30. So, because, shipping it costs money. So, we're selling these cookbooks at cost. I think it cost us about $10 to have them printed per book or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're selling them at cost, $10. So, I can either come and hand deliver it to you somewhere, and I can't guarantee the timeline and how long it'll take me to get to you, but I'd be more than happy to come and see you and hand you this cookbook in person. I have so far, I think, hand delivered probably about 15 of them. All across the states to people who both expected them and did not expect them. So, because they thought I was joking. So, yeah, I will totally come deliver this cookbook to you because I travel the states a lot for work. And in the near future, I'm going to be going from Indiana all the way down to Texas, all the way over to Missouri. So that's going to be happening. So if you're in that line, like I'll come to you quicker, and I can get this cooked with you lickety split. But anyways, message me on Telegram, t.me/Will Stevenson. Again, I dropped the link in the chat and say I want a cookbook, and then I will tell you how to send me the money from there. But yeah, that's the way to do it. That's how you guys get a cookbook.
That's how you do it, folks. You heard it first there. We have a new person in the chat here, Dylan Placer. I hope I said your name correctly. Plazier.
I don't know if that's the way to say it. If it was French, that's how I would say.
No, I probably messed it up. Good to see you, Dylan.
Aloha.
I hate when people turn into a turtle. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but it is unfortunate when people turn into turtles. But it's good to have you in the chat. I hope you learned something about lawsuits today. And Jenna Nelson says hand delivered to Iowa. Jenna Nelson, the directions, if you do want a cookbook and you're serious about it, are to message Will on Telegram and request a cookbook. Hopefully, Iowa, I'm pretty sure, is in the area of Missouri, Illinois, Idaho, Wisconsin, Wyoming, Alaska. So
it's in the area, yes.
It's in the area. So who knows? And who knows, Jenna? Maybe if somebody ends up in Texas, they could be hand delivered with a personal note inside.
There you go. Excellent. Yes.
But they are $10.
Yep. I guess folks could message you as well, couldn't you, Sam? Couldn't they? Because you have cookbooks as well. I've only got 8 of them. So if you're the 9th person to message me, then you should message Sam. Sam, how would they go about hitting you up to get a cookbook from you? Actually, is it socials shouting out stuff? Have you already done that? Or wait, no, we didn't. Yo, Sam, where can the folks find you, bro?
The folks can find me on my Skool server. That is the place to go. It's free. Come join it. Come check it out. Come learn everything I have to offer. And yeah, go to the link in the description below, or it was in the chat at one point, or just go to skool.com/BFB success. That is what will take you to the Skool server where you can learn lots of wonderful jelly beans of information.
Outstanding.
So good to see everybody in the chat today, guys. Will, where can the folks find you?
If the folks want to find me, if you guys want to check out any of my socials, whatever they might be, then you need to go to will.pls.fyi. From that point, you can get in touch with me. You can stalk all my socials, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, the streaming that I do with the DGen Roundtable or anything of that nature. It can all be found at will.pls.fyi. So that's where you guys can find me. I spend most of my time in Telegram. That is my favorite messaging application platform. Yes, thank you, man. At a loss for words, but that's what's going on with me. If you guys want to catch some more of the things going on between Brother Sam and Brother Will, then you guys should consider checking out the Brothers Two of Them podcast. You can also find that linked. It's probably like 1 or 2 clicks through the will.pls.fyi. You go to that website, and then you click on my link tree, and then from the link tree, you click on the Brothers Two of Them. And then also, later on tomorrow, at round about the same time, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, Sam and I are going to be covering on the DGen Roundtable Book Club. We're going to be covering The Anatomy of the State by Murray Rothbard. So it's going to be a good time. Come on over there. And, I suppose I will drop the DGen Roundtable link in there as well.
Yeah, throw it in there.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, you can find all kinds of stuff all over the place. One last time, thanks everybody for coming and hanging out, learning on the Late Night Learning. If you want to learn more, then there'll be another one next week. And so I hope to see you guys maybe on the book club tomorrow. And if not, then I'll see you guys next week on the Late Night Learning. And if not, then I'll see you in the Skool server, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. Let's take it out with some of that Green Observer banging music. Let's go, folks. Here we go. We're out.